Hello everyone, Zeldarinth here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we just got the August 2026 schedule drop, and so I thought we'd just go ahead and take a look at it and kind of talk about what we have here, especially now that we are basically getting towards the very end for the Aston Machan and the Light Hello banner to be dropping off, and so everybody kind of knows what their situation is at this point post Aston Machan and Light Hello, and where they may want to spend their carrots. This is another month that has actually a decent amount of things that you could potentially want to pull on, but nothing really mandatory. Grand Live doesn't have any big must pickups, but it has a lot of nice to haves, especially in the Uma department. So we'll just start right off the bat with the first one on here. We got the rerun for the Silent Suzuka and Smart Falcon card. Both of them being link matches, Silent Suzuka being one where she will be a very good card on some of the CMs because Unrestrained will be a good skill. And since she's a link card, she has a skill point bonus. She can do fairly well. Smart Falcon, of course, for groundwork. But outside of really parent running, not really that useful. Unless you're like a whale or a dolphin that's fairly new that wants to make sure they have their Silent Suzuka ready to go for the CMs that she's good on. At this point, you don't need her. You can always make her your borrow if you really want to get Unrestrained on your front runners. We have that, but then we have Yukino Bijin, the Uma herself, dropping for those who want to pick her up. More of an Oshi pickup, but for those that like her, if you hopefully have enough carrots. I know Aston Machan and Light Hello drained a lot of people's carrot stockpiles. But she is available for those. Of course, we have Virgo Cup coming up. We already kind of knew when it was dropping because they've already told us the start date. So registrations will start here on the 5th, and then we'll have we'll finish up Virgo Cup finals on August 14th. And during that, we will be having the next banner kind of happen at the very end. I don't think any of these are like last second things you're going to want to utilize in building your parent. But we have Seeking the Pearl drop. Very good Uma on sprints, especially when she gets her evolutions. Her evolution, she has a skill that is, she has Big Sisterly, and I believe, I have her actually up here right now. She has Big Sisterly, and then Shocking Flash. This used to be, I forget the name, but it's a very good sprint skill. And when she gets her evolutions, she eventually changes them to work on both sprint and mile. So while she starts right off the bat with it being sprint for one and mile for the other, she eventually just can use both of them, and she becomes very, very good. And she has a good inherit as well. So now a lot of people are going to want to pick her up. Then you also have, you have a new SS or an SR here. But on the support card side, we have Daitaku Ruby Power. She's a very useful card. You'll see her as being kind of the meta pickup if on certain ones, because she has, actually I probably should just pull it up here. Probably pull up the gotchas. I have them available. But Daitaku Ruby has a really good skill herself. That is Flash Forward. Same thing that Seeking the Pearl has, but the ability to get it on any Uma. And it is one of those acceleration type skills, so very good in situational purposes. And not needing high limit break. She's a card that you can just get primarily for this skill. You don't need to MLB her. So I know a lot of people may want to just dip their toes in here to get a single copy. By no means mandatory, though. But she is a card that you can try and just dip your toes in. Or, when we get the selectors on the 2nd anniversary, she is actually a decent option to use those, especially if you're willing to spend money and get all 3 of them. She is one of those that is an option there, and you can just kind of skip there. We have the Legend Races, Nishino Flower, Hishi Akabono. You can go ahead and run those and get some stars on them. Now, when it comes to when we're actually going to see them become available to farm out the daily Legend Races, you can always use Henry Handsome's carrot calculator he has when they drop in here, so you can see both of them will drop with the 2.5 anniversary to be able to farm out. And then so after them, we have another big banner here. So this has the Halloween event coming alongside it. And then we have the Umas Meisho Dodo and Agnes Digital. Now, right now, we do have the ability to farm out Agnes Digital, the OG one. And so one of the big reasons you would, for me, want to get her is for the fact that she is a Dirt A and Turf A for kind of doing your independent trainings now and being able to get dirt rotation going. She's really good for that. But since we can get the OG version, there's nothing too crazy about this one in comparison. I like the OG one more anyway, for the simple fact she has Super Stand built in, making it easier to get Uma Stand in your parents. But she does have it's on and then can't keep me down. And then I know a lot of people like Meisho Dodo. She's on here as well. But by no means a must pick up. The other big one on here, though, all over the place, is we have another double SSR banner, and this one is a very good whale / dolphin banner. If you're just wanting to spend some money and give yourself a slight edge, to me, this is a very good dolphin / whale banner. For most people, a pretty easy skip. But this one comes with Daitaku Helios Speed and the Mejiro Palmer Stamina. Daitaku Helios Speed being a card that'll actually be really good, in my opinion, based on what we've seen with our current support cards in independent training. She has the skill point bonus. So we've been seeing that gives a crap ton of skill points on these. Decent hint level to hint level 3. And then what her gold skill is the gold version of Slipstream. She has Tail Held High built in. She has Front Runner Straightaways. So, and then also like Speed Eater and a bunch of other good stuff in here, like the normal Daitaku Helios you probably are familiar with. And so, not only is she going to be good for independent training, a very strong speed card in her own right for ace runs. And not only just front runners, even though you have a lot of front runner stuff, but Tail Held High and Gold Slipstream, just all around good for anybody. But like I said, this is by no means a must-have. If you've been playing for a while, I mean, you already have like your core cards. You have your Kita-san Black for Professor of Curvature. You hopefully have Agnes Tachyon Speed as your other really big stat stick. And then if you hold for her, Summermaru Zensky. So it's very hard to fit this card in unless you're a whale / heavy spender. Of course, for me, if I personally pull for her, she'll replace Kita-san Black, use Daitaku Helios Speed instead of Kita-san Black, and then, of course, I will borrow Tokai Teo Wit to get myself a copy of, or get myself Professor of Curvature. Then the other card here is Mejiro Palmer, and she is a new way to get taking the lead for frontrunners. So your Mihono Bourbon can finally have easy access to taking the lead. No needing to use Twin Turbo Speed on her to get that. Has a pretty good skills in here. Has Groundwork, Final Push, Early Lead. I mean, playtime's over. Doesn't really matter. We get that off Light Hello easily. Kind of the same thing with Front Runner Savvy. But she does have Front Runner Corners right here. You get that on her second chain of her event. But she is a stamina card, so really going to only be useful in the longer races. But as you've probably learned now in Grand Live, even the mediums, fairly solid to bring your own stamina card just to try and get enough stamina to survive, especially with the heavy debuffs we're starting to see. So it's a very good, in my opinion, whale / spender banner. But not very easy skip, but it is a nice one overall. It is kind of a bait banner though, so don't let it fool you. If you're a light spender or a free to play, go ahead and skip that one. But alongside this, we do have another story event coming. This one will be dropping with the free Guts card, Shinko Wendy. Pretty solid card for 1 CM. 1 CM only, really. But it is a Guts card, Shinko Wendy. Has some alright stats. Does have initial speed, power, and guts. So I feel like this card has potential, being pretty decent for independent training, for helping those who are struggling to get SS. I feel like this might be a pretty solid one to help get you. We've already seen Marvelous Sunday Power with her initial power and speed. This one gives less speed and power, but it adds in guts to it. Plus it has guts bonus. Has some okay skills in here. For debuffers, looking to try and get their oppression for future dirt CMs, we have that in this card. But her biggest thing is she has the gold version of Muddy. So for the next dirt CM, not the current one. I mean, the one we're doing currently will be over by the time this drops anyway. But the next dirt CM will be the one and only time where this actually can activate. And so this may be a potential card you may use for your Copano Rickies as one of your greens. Because Copano Ricky, what makes her really strong is not only is her ult really strong with the more greens you have, but the amount of speed and power you can stack on top of her, especially when you max out her stats. This is just another one of those gold greens she can take advantage of. So, pretty solid event. Try not to miss that. Then after that, we have the next good banner. And this one's another really good pull one. A lot of people, it's probably the one that most people will pull on of this month. You have Aston Machan, a really good sprinter. For sprints, she has an ult that pretty much activates perfect timing for the CMs of sprints if the conditions are met. She does have a condition tied to it, but very solid at it. Really nice evolutions too that makes her have a very easy time getting way out into the front early on. So she's usually she's not a runaway, but she's the closest thing to a runaway in the fact that she makes taking the lead last 4 seconds versus 1.4. She has built-in groundwork as well, but she's pretty much dedicated to sprinting on her own right. But a very nice Uma pickup for that right. But then we also have the reruns of Summer Maruzensky and Fine Motion. So those who are waiting or don't have their copies of Summer Maruzensky or need to top up their Fine Motion, this is your time to do it. To me, Fine Motion at this point, if you're already good on your Summer Maruzensky, Fine Motion has fallen off to a point where I feel like, I mean, she's still a good pickup if you're a new player, you don't have any other wit cards, but hopefully you have good enough cards to work through this scenario and you just keep saving up for Major Romanu at this point, unless you need both of these cards. But yeah, overall pretty good. And then right after that, we have Libra Cup that'll start free registrations on August 25th. And so if you kind of look at the timeline, this is actually quite quick. We'll be finishing up Virgo Cup August 14th. So this is 11 days later, which then if you count the delay, another 4 days, so it's going to be like the 29th or 30th that the actual Libra Cup will start. So it's like right on that 2 weeks. Finish Virgo, and the next one starts 2 weeks later. So luckily we have independent training. Independent training making it a lot easier to farm out those grandparents and parents, so you should only have to focus on aces, which is good, because while it doesn't take as long as Track Blazer, the amount of times you're gluing your ace runs, that's going to still take a bit of time and a lot of work to try and get those aces ready to go. This one will be another mile, so we'll be going from the medium on this one to a mile. Now, you'll still have to think about stamina to a certain extent, but this one will by no means be anything close to Virgo on the stamina requirements. Being Hanshin with all the downhills, but being not only a mile at 1600, but Hanshin has a ton of downhill. So you'll actually really probably have a lot more fun at building the aces for this, since you're going to really just be able to go all in on that speed and wit and try and pop off your power as much as you can, and then just make enough stamina to survive. We'll have to see. I feel like this one will be more Dominator, Keen Eye of a scenario. People, if they want to bring debuffers, are going to go with Dominators and Keen Eye together. But that is pretty much it. That is the August 2026 schedule. For most people, pretty easy skips if you've been, especially if you've been playing since day one. If you already pulled on like Fine Motion, Summer Maruzensky, you're not going to wail out on Daitaku, Helios, and that. I mean, the really only big ones that I would say would be Seeking the Pearl and Aston Machan themselves. Both very strong sprinters for the future, as well as Aston Machan having a pretty good inherit. But that's pretty much it for these banners. And if you like my content, if you can like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.